Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of Career Services webinar. Today, we have with us Mr. Anil Bhatia, and the topic that we'll be taking up today is aligning accelerated digital transformation implementation to achieve environmental sustainability goals. Before we start, so in case you have any questions during this session, please put them into the Q&A box, and we'll take the questions at the end of the session. And if you're putting the questions in the chat box, please mark it to everyone so everyone can see the questions. So without further ado, let me introduce Anil. Anil drives growth for multiple businesses group. Focusing on providing process automation solutions across industries with a major focus on digital transformation. He is championing the campaign on diversity and inclusion for the organizations in India. Anil is currently the board member of IIT Washington University. He is also a member of MBA Strategic Advisory Board of John M. Olin School of Business, Washington University in St. Louis, USA. And is actively engaged with various industry bodies like USIS, IHS Market, and ISA Delhi. Anil is a regular speaker on digital transformation and process automation in various industrial forums and has published several technical articles on this topic. So it gives me pleasure to welcome Anil on to speak about this today. And welcome, Anil. Over to you.
So, good evening, Shivam, and thanks to Emeritus, Roma, and all the team for inviting me to speak in this webinar series. A warm welcome to all those who joined. So, today's topic is aligning accelerated digital transformation implementation to environmental sustainability goals. And I will, as Shivam introduced, I am running the Emerson Automation Solutions business in India, and I've been doing this for the last 5 years. So I will also be talking about some of my journey, as Roma wanted me to talk in the end of the presentation. So, without much delay, we'll straight away, go to the session. So first of all, at Emerson, whenever we start any session, I think safety is a very the topmost priority in our mind. So we always try to ensure that safety moment is covered with the team, and now with the new change, we also make sure that diversity inclusion moments are also included in our beginning of our presentation. So I'll just quickly talk about the safety and inclusion moment for us here. I think we with COVID around, I thought, okay, let me just start with this that the pandemic itself, if you see on the COVID-19, we all kind of get fatigue at home, then there are less cases, then we go carelessly, again increase infection, and again second wave, third wave comes. So obviously, as responsible citizens, we'll have to fight this and we'll have to face it, that this has happened, and we'll have to kind of fight it and win over it. So be mindful and find ways to motivate yourself and those around you to continue following guidelines and never give up. Social distancing, mask, hand, all will have to continue during this pandemic time until we see a final end to it. So do not never give up and keep on doing it. And another impact of COVID-19 is mental health, as you know, depression, anxiety, fear. These are very common, and by many of us have seen it. Now, what we should do at that time? First of all, most importantly, take care of the body. Limit the news intake. Sometimes the news can be very depressing and you don't need to take that much. Keep your stress low, exercise, and also accept the feelings of others, what they are going through, because sometimes you have to understand, we are going into a situation, and overall, if there's any issue, seek professional help. So this is around a safety and inclusion movement, and Emerson really follows the 12 life-saving behaviors very, very strongly and are very focused on safety. Today's agenda, I will be, kind of talking about Emerson overview quickly, in a couple of slides. Then I will be first covering what is environmental sustainability and, what are India goals, and also corporates like us, like Emerson, what are our strategies around the overall environmental sustainability. And then to meet these goals, how digital transformation is really going to help to achieve this environmental sustainability goals. And finally, Roma was very much particular. I should talk about my leadership journey. So I'll be talking about leadership journey, and also like digital transformation, personal transformation also happens. So I'll talk about something which I'm sure you all will be kind of like it, and I'm sure you will be able to correlate with what you go through every day. So let me first go to Emerson overview. Emerson is a very old conglomerate, a US company. It was founded in 1890 and is headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. We are, among the Fortune 500. Today we stand at around 176 in 2020. We are well known for, being the best employer of choice, both, as an employer, and also a lot of focus on diversity and inclusion, and women hiring in all across has been very, very focused approach in Emerson. We have two platforms actually: automation solution and commercial residential solution. So I run the automation solution business in India, and we have another commercial residential solution business which is run by my colleague in India. So overall we have like 88,000 employees, and we are 16.8 billion in 2020. And the good part about Emerson is it has been consecutively 64 years increased dividend to its investors. So that is very, very, that shows how stable the company is. And very important for you all, Emerson is known for its innovation. More than 20,000 patents are held by Emerson today, and you will all be very proud to know that even in India, we have an innovation center in Pune where more than 1,000 plus engineers operating from that, actually designing for the world, and a lot of patents are held there. So whatever products may come from Emerson, many of them would have been designed and developed in India. And on the India side, again we are like distributed across India. We have a large presence of global engineering centers. With we have 4,000 plus employees serving multiple industries. We are the engineering centers are located in Mumbai, in Pune, Delhi, Bangalore. Then we have manufacturing presence, a lot manufacturing presence in India. 10 plants with more than 1,800 employees. And our manufacturing is kind of concentrated in Mumbai, Pune, and Chennai. We continue to invest. We are currently doing some large campuses in Talegaon, Pune, and Chennai for our future expansion growth. And obviously, we are very strong, quality conscious, and completely certified. So overall, it is a 3,000 plus crore company, and wide and strong presence in India with more than 7,500 plus employees. So that is what Emerson, global and India, just for your kind of reference. And what all industries we saw. So you name, I'm talking about automation solution here. You name any industry in process, and we serve: chemical, oil and gas, power, refining, life science, automotive. We are there everywhere, and our equipment, we hold some very leading brands in these industries. And I'm sure many of you who are in the industry know what we do, in how our brand image is in the world. So that is what. Quickly on what was Emerson, I will not take. So now we will come to the core topic of industrial in India, the environmental sustainability goals, and also corporates like Emerson and our vision. So I'm sure many of you on the call are aware about environmental sustainability goals. There is a lot being said across today in the marketplace. So I'll just go first. I would like to spend some time here. This is a pretty kind of technical chart, but I will try to make it as simplistic as I can. You see, we all know, like in 2015, all the countries got together and a Paris Agreement was signed, and it was decided that because of the global warming, you all have heard global warming. Let us all get together and sign an agreement that we all will not allow the Mother Earth's temperature to go beyond 2 degrees centigrade, what was up to 2030. So 2015, if temperature was X, we should not allow it to go beyond 2 degrees centigrade. And as you know, the temperature rises because of the emissions, what we do, the carbon dioxide emission. So what was decided then, that any country which is much less than 1.5 degrees contributor will be called as a role model, and countries which are like 1.5 degrees, they are like Paris Agreement compatible. 2 degrees compatible was another kind of parameter laid in the Paris Agreement, and beyond that they were qualified as insufficient, highly insufficient, and critically insufficient. So I think I was kind of trying to make it very simple, that basically in the Paris Agreement it was decided for us to remain sustainable, we will not allow the temperature of the globe to go beyond 2 degrees. So India also promised, and as you can see, India in 2020 had actually committed that we will be somewhere in the 2 degrees compatible model, but we are really, thanks to the initiative of the government, we are well in place, and today we fall in the 1.5 degrees Paris Agreement compatible. So obviously, the target is up to 2030, and we have committed that we will be here still in 1.5. But as you see, the post-COVID, what the commitment we are giving, I think we will be much better than where we had committed. So that is a good part. And another important thing, this line, if you see, this is the forestation that had happened in India, which also contributed to reducing some of the temperature because of the increase we are doing because of industrialization and CO2 emissions. So that we also did our share of greening and forestation. Now, if you really think about it, India is a high growth country, and the way things are moving, if we don't do anything, like 165% growth in energy consumption is planned is estimated by 2040. Now imagine if that is the case, really we will it will be impossible for us to, not generate carbon dioxide. And that is where a lot of initiatives are required. And that is where the whole environmental sustainability comes in. So India is committed to be here, and they will do it how? First is, we are really, I'm sure many of you are knowing this word renewable, and I think most of you will link it to solar or wind, but you will be surprised to see in the next slide what other things will also add to reduction of our emissions. So I was in a meeting with Minister Singh the last, I think yesterday, where I think he was mentioning that India will be completing 150 gigawatt on October 2, 2021. So we are very close to 175 gigawatt of renewables. So it's a remarkable achievement. And of course, the thermal power will be showing a declining trend. Another important, obviously, the mobility, the automobile. We will have to, convert more towards electric mobility, reduce air pollution and energy efficiency. Now, one good part is that, there is a per capita emission, which is, kind of done in India, which is 1.94 ton of CO2. Now, we are still lesser than the global average. So because we have such a large population, although we are generating huge amount of carbon dioxide, but because of our large population, our per capita emission is low, is 1.94. So this is the whole, to set a perspective for you all, that what is the goal of environmental sustainability, my topic, the subject which I mentioned. And I'm sure I was able to kind of put it simply. Basically, it is around ensuring that we as India do not contribute to more than 2 degrees of temperature increase. And that is how the whole world is, kind of focused on. So going to the next chart then, when we did a roadmap, when there was Paris Agreement, there was certain roadmap agreed. We agreed that we will reduce our emissions intensity by 30 to 35%. So from 2005 to 2030, we want to bring 35% down. We want to achieve 450 gigawatts by 2030 of renewables. Currently, we are doing 23.5% renewable energy. We want to go to 40%. In case of mobility, like Indian Railways have committed zero carbon emission by 2030, and we want to go ahead and increase so much like incentives to ensure electric and hybrid vehicles come in the market. So these were some of the key, you can say, pillars which will help us to achieve. Now, to achieve all this is where now the discussion comes. We will have to really have many such industry, massive investment will come in this area. I know you all know, I'm sure solar is well known, solar and wind. But in addition to solar, there is biofuels, nuclear, LNG, liquefied natural gas, hydrogen, and various emission measures, which will also contribute to our, making sure we meet our goals. I will cover a few more, like, if you see here, I talked about solar, but biofuels, the waste to energy. For example, government of India is making mandatory that by 2030, our fuel will be mixed with 20% bioethanol. So bioethanol is made from the sugar, as I'm sure many of you know. Similarly, there are a lot of waste, the waste which we all kind of throw into the market, that will be converted into energy, and there is a lot of projects going on. So huge investment coming in this area, biofuels. Similarly, another very, very important is going to be hydrogen. It is going to be the way forward. Right now, we know already there is a mandate to blend hydrogen with natural gas. Moving forward, the hydrogen strategy is going to be hydrogen for transportation, industrial electric grid, and also hydrogen pathway storage. I'm sure, many of you are reading about this every day. This is still in a kind of very, you can say, nascent stage right now, but it is really going to boom in the coming years. So if you see, all these investments will come. Obviously, this will need efficiency. This will need a lot of technology, and that is where we will have to make sure that I'll be talking after a few slides around the whole digital transformation that will be there. Now, to achieve this will have to be a collective effort, as you all agree. The people will have to do it, and also corporates and the government. Nobody can do this alone. So that is where corporates like Emerson have also formed an Emerson sustainability strategy. So we were one of the few companies who announced the first Chief Sustainability Officer globally. His name is Mike Train. Mike is a veteran in the industry, and he clearly says, I think he has written below, that we are Emerson-like organization, very seriously focusing on our efforts and purpose around environmental sustainability. So these objectives have to be run by all the corporate. As you'll find as we move forward, that will come in every corporate. And Emerson is like highly relevant to the most sustainable future, because we have the technology, the expertise, and the global perspective where we can help the world find a path forward. So what did we then do? We said, okay, the strategy is like this. We will have to be spearheading this, and we have this very three-pronged strategy: greening of, greening by, and greening with. And I will try to cover very briefly this. First of all, greening of Emerson. So what we are trying to commit here as a corporate, that we ourselves will contribute to reducing the emissions intensity in various of our sites. So Emerson has 185 sites across the world, and by 2028 we want to reduce. We want to make sure that our supply partners, logistic partners also support similar objectives, and also we make sure that what we are doing is that the sustainability focus is completely embedded in our management process. Every leader is kind of focused around it. When I am building new projects in India, I'm making sure that we follow all the sustainability norms. Like we're investing in Pune and Chennai, we have all the we have solar, we have rainwater harvesting, and many other things to make the building completely green. So that is greening of Emerson. Then we have greening by Emerson. What we mean by that is, we as Emerson are very strong in providing products, expertise, and solutions and services to help our customers transition to lower carbon. So we will have energy source decarbonization, emissions management, electrification and system integration, and energy efficiency. So again, this is a very vast topic. I can take days to really go into every one, but the intent here is to tell you that how corporate like us and many others are working to ensure that they do their part of greening, by. And finally, another very important strategy is greening with Emerson. Again, here what we mean is, you see, as I said, this effort will not be done by one person. There are a lot of government bodies, and a lot of bodies working together, a lot of agencies, and we as corporates will have to work with these agencies to ensure that whatever policies are being framed, we are doing the latest and the greatest and the best thing for the world. So, for example, research and innovation, industry leadership, and government policy. We engage in all the three. I am like in India, I am connected with many bodies to make sure that we are continuing to drive this message and ensuring the right technology is kind of implanted in all these new initiatives that will come. So that is what is Emerson's sustainability kind of selling, and you will find that many corporates will keep on coming with this. Of course, Emerson is like has been initially first mover there, but we are finding many large corporates in India are going ahead and appointing chief sustainability officers and are focused around this. So any company who will not do this may not remain relevant, is what I feel. So now, very important part. I'm sure many of you are interested, as Roma was telling me, on digital transformation implementation. Again, this is a vast subject. I will try to cover in this limited time to at least give you an overview, and then of course you can always reach out to me and my team, and whoever wants to get more detail will be more than happy to kind of talk to you all. So if I was physical sitting with you, I would ask this question: what comes to mind? But in virtual, we don't have that. We'll not do that. So as far as I see, what all comes to mind when you talk about transformation? Of course, technology is needed, right? Technology is needed for you to transform. New destinations. When I say new destination, means you are at level A, you want to go to level B. That is new destination. Growth requires transformation. Empowerment to the people. Again, it is very critical for us to achieve the transformation. Innovation, I think, goes without saying, and problem solving. So all these are very relevant, kind of words into a transformation. And coming few slides, I will be talking about digital transformation. And then I will also in the end cover a couple of charts talking about my journey and, probably a personal transformation, which are the way I see it. So coming to, this is a very interesting chart on what exactly is digital transformation, how it will actually, next era, how it will change. So if you really see over time, our productivity went on going up. I mean, at one stage, we are reaching a plateau that, we cannot be without doing something different. If we continue to do the things the same way, we will not be able to do more productivity. Similarly, we started putting automation and workforce went down, for doing a job. And at one stage, again, this kind of get plateaued and we can't go below this. This is where the digital transformation will come in. To get that quantum leap again, when you adopt the best-in-class behavior, you will see these. All corporations who are adopting digital transformation will be able to achieve the next step or the next kind of era where they will be getting the results. So this is what digital transformation will bring. And of course, the manpower will remain obviously in a straight line, because we are not going to further reduce it. But this is how this is a very kind of clear indicator of how things will move. And when you talk about digital transformation, so many things come to mind. I try to simplify for you all what all should be involved when you design a digital transformation strategy. First is, of course, the workflow itself has to be automated. You see, if you don't have an automated workflow and things are not flowing, then imagine, one file getting stuck there or somebody not receiving information, you will never be able to succeed. So automation workflow, very important. Decision support, again, with artificial intelligence and machine learning, when the data comes to you, you also get a decision support. Okay, there is a problem in A, you can do B and C. And that is what, decision support happens. Obviously, you will have to make sure that we continue to upskill our workforce. This is very important. And I'm sure, organizations like Emeritus are really contributing to this important aspect of, digital transformation indirectly and directly, by upskilling our workforce. Mobility, obviously, and I think COVID taught us, we will have to operate today. We are all working in remote mode. and listening to each other. So mobility will be the key. And finally, most important, change management. Change management is management not only in technology but also cultural change. When we move to the next level, we will have to drive this approach both top bottom and bottom top. The top will have to agree and communicate in the right way on the digital transformation. The bottom will also have to understand the cultural change that is needed. So I think this is what is the 5 key in a simplistic way. Whenever you all design a digital transformation strategy, I think if you keep this in mind, you will be able to make it pretty successful. And again, Emerson's innovation definitely will power our customer strategies across in these essential competencies. So that was around, now I will just kind of share an important and very interesting survey. So there was a survey done, and this is a direct coming from the source, that a question was asked to the industry as to our company has clearly diverse in defined vision and roadmap for digital transformation. Yes, true or false? So only 20%, answered yes, they had a clearly defined vision and roadmap, which again goes back to my earlier chart. The vision and roadmap is very, very clear, very, very important. Otherwise, the whole transformation strategy can fail. So it has been found that today, the biggest barrier to digital transformation is clear and actionable roadmap. So that is one. Another very interesting question was asked. So it was asked, how do you think that digital transformation is required for you to be successful? And 90% said it is critically important. So you see the straightaway gap. 20% say we have a vision, 90% say we need it. And it is not just about, again, I want to caution and clarify to you all, digital strategy finally should be around how you solve your business problem and not around digitization. The objective should be solving business problems. Also, kind of narrated by one of the chief technical officer for a large oil and gas company. And one third and very important survey question, which I'm sure you all will be, facing through, is collaboration between IT and OT. So by IT and OT, if you don't know this, many of you, if you don't know this kind of word, IT is information technology and OT is operations, collaboration, operation technology, which means the people, the teams who will implement the technology and the users. And it was really felt that these two, if they don't collaborate, we'll get into a situation where we'll have a solution which is not successful. So any digital transformation strategy, when you implement, make sure the user and the digital service provider are well collaborated to get the right thing for the business. Again, this survey shows that more than almost 80% people felt that it is extremely important for an IT and OT collaboration. So IT will normally do the technical side, but the operations are the one who will make it work. So the real world is where the strength is, as mentioned by one of the leaders in the industry. So I think this was very important for me to communicate to you all, as you as leaders, future leaders will work on digital transformation strategy, and I'm sure these kind of things will help you to implement the right strategy. I will not spend kind of lot of time. It's a busy chart, but just to kind of share with you what are the areas which will be important for digital. As I told you, the business objective, right? So what are the major, if I were to categorize the business objective into major categories, safety is going to be the key. And then of course, reliability, where you don't want any shutdown or any minimum downtime. Productivity, obviously there is so much pressure, energy and emissions. And then finally, the whole encompassing, the workforce, which will have to be empowered. So I'll quickly talk, like for example, safety. There is a lot of digital transformation activities that are being happening to really improve our safety. These days you can actually monitor, even if you have a plant with 5,000 people, you can monitor, you can where each of the employees, is somebody injured or not, and if there is any issue, you can take action much faster. And many other areas of safety is going to be very, very important. Reliability, as the word suggests, in the past we used to rely on human on kind of trying to see what will happen to the machine after it breaks down. But now advanced analytics are available, and Emerson is very strong in this, where we can predict health of the equipment upfront, and there will be basically no reactive repair, but it will be more kind of pre-failure corrective action by automated loops. So now the field task will be performed by, as I called it, avatars, not just by the human but by the digital team. So again, that is around reliability. Productivity, I don't think I don't need to say about it. We all have to make sure that we remain more, continue to be more productive. Today, every CEO has this challenges of reducing cost, increasing productivity. So I think productivity, digital transformation will be key. And on the on the environment sustainability, again, we have to make sure that we restrict our emissions to the environment. And then again, there is lot of technology available which can make your energy emissions sustainable. So all these four obviously needs workforce, and that is where you will need empowered workforce to drive the value. And all routine tasks will have to be automated, and collaboration will have to be embedded in the whole culture. And I think if you do all this, you will be, so these are the four, I think, the broad business objectives which come, and the workforce obviously will be the important one. And if you need all this, I think you will be able to get your goal of digital transformation for sustainability and for productivity, safety, and reliability as well. So this is kind of, at a summary level, how Emerson's solution will be help in part of the whole environmental sustainability and new energy value chain. How we help our customers to meet the goals. So we have solutions everywhere, whether it is enabling transition and renewable energy sources, optimizing energy supply, efficiency, and there are so many things available. Pervasive sensing, edge computing. As I said, I will need 1 day, 2 days to talk about everything, but I will just maybe talk about digital twin. I'm sure many of you would have heard this. So imagine a large size manufacturing plant or operation where thousands of people are working. If there can be an equivalent digital twin developed, which will exactly operate as if you're operating in a real mode. So you can train your operators first upfront and run the whole plant as if it is running in real time. And trust me, today there are so many, this has really evolved so much that you will not even feel that you are not running a real plant. So it is like like the olden days, flight simulator. Now there are digital twins available. Then remote operations, location tracking, everywhere. We have asset health analytics to have your assets health upfront. And finally, all around combustion, edge computing, control system, all this finally will lead to greening. Greening, for us, greening of Emerson, greening by Emerson, and greening with Emerson. So overall, if you see scalability solutions, so you really don't need to go and take all this and deploy. You have to be very careful. You have your kind of, very, planned scalable strategy. Make sure there is a lot of comprehensive analytics built into it. And of course, go without saying, cybersecurity has to be very carefully planned when you enable your digital transformation strategy. So this is what is Emerson's goal and Emerson's kind of way of supporting the sustainability goal through digital transformation. Because we have limited time, I will now talk about the personal transformation goal about myself and my career, and then we will be open to questions. So, I joined Emerson as an engineer in 1995, and since then, it has been no looking back. I worked in India initially in projects, then moved, to Dubai. Then subsequently, I was in US also for some time. Again, came back, then started running the business, and finally in 2015, I was elevated to the VP and MD for Emerson Automation Solutions India, which is a 7,000 plus people and around 3,000 crore turnover company. And how does this happen? Of course, people like me and many of you who joined the organization with a long-term vision and view, you will then be also having taken care, to various trainings which I went through, and finally, you will succeed in your journey. So I think this was in my journey. It has been great to work with organization like Emerson. I will be completing 26 years and looking forward to many more. So with that, I will just go to my next chart and talk about my story around willing to be uncomfortable. And I will encourage all of you to make sure that you kind of try to follow this, never always remain in a comfortable zone. So I was running, Emerson's power business, which I got it in 2012. Prior to that, I was always an operations guy, as you saw my career chart. And I was like very happy. From operations, I entered into business. And I was really doing very well. I was, it was an $11 million business, which I grown very well in the 3 years in India. And then I got a call from one of my leaders to go back into operations, but for Asia Pacific. And when I first heard it, I felt kind of uncomfortable. Well, I'm doing so well. And after a lot of difficulty, I got, into the business side of things. Again, going back to operations, will I be labeled as operations? But then I believe that if a senior, he asks you for a job, obviously he or she has something in mind for you. So then I decided to take that job to run the operations, and it was the $200 million. So from 11 million business, I was running a 200 million operation, not the full business. But then when I did this, when opening came for a vice president and managing director role in India, because I had done this, I was willing to be uncomfortable. I feel that was one big enabler in getting me this job, because I then managed $200 million. So the story, or why I wanted to say that, make sure that always, whenever you are approached, raise your hand and be willing to be uncomfortable, and success will be with you. So that is, one story of mine. And I will just now conclude with one last chart, because we are just, Roma gave me 35 minutes. I'm still maybe a little bit over. So, we all during our career, when we are in young stage, we try to kind of fight for undue attention. We start fighting for trivial things. He didn't send me a mail, or she told me this. And sometimes even blame game a lot. Now, I feel that do not kind of fight, leave such fights for those who don't have anything to fight. And, I started succeeding when I started leaving small fights for small fighters. And I started fighting for my big fights, my vision, my dreams, my ideas, and my destiny. And believe me, the day I gave up this, I think I became more successful. So, I would like to end with this thought, that some flights are not worth your time. Choose what you fight for wisely, and fight for your dreams. I think that is my last chart. I hope I was able to do justice in the time given to me, and give a summary of the overall digital transformation and environmental sustainability goals. Now I am open for questions. Thank you.
Mohammed Nadeem asks, if I'm a startup wanting to get into sustainable solutions area, what is the incentives and mentoring support I am to be getting, and from whom?
Okay, very good question. Mohammed, lot of sustainability solutions. If you are a startup, believe me, you'll get a lot of traction from many organizations, including like us, if you have the right solution. And also, if I talk about India, government in India also is, and I really connect with many in the ministry, and there is a lot available for new startups and entrepreneur mind people like you. So don't get bogged down. If you get stuck up, talk to leaders in the industry. Feel free to connect to me, and I'll make sure that you get to the right people even in the government or in the corporate. But I can assure you, in this area, if you have right solutions, I think sky is the limit. So, keep on. Don't get worried about that whether you will get mentoring support or not. And a lot of incentives already being avoided regularly by the government on any area you work. Even today, you must have read around drones. Prime Minister Modi announced. So there are a lot of incentives available overall in this area. I hope I was able to kind of answer the question. Okay. So the next question.
Narinder Kumar Sivalingam asks, what skills are to be developed to pursue a senior leadership role?
Oh, very, very interesting question. So To pursue a senior leadership role, first you have to make sure that you have a passion and hard work. Always remember that hard work is what will take you to the senior leadership. You have to have the passion. And third, very important, be the change driver. Challenge the status quo all the time, and you will be seen by the leadership. And once you do that and are able to bring about the change within your organization, you will find that the senior leadership role will come to you rather than you wanting to pursue. So I will say hard work, collaboration is very important, and making sure you are challenging the status quo and being the leader for change in whatever you do. Of course, for the right way. You don't have to change things just for the sake of it. There is to be, the status quo has to be challenged. Okay.
So Sridhar Konumoni asks, what are all the strategies you are implementing for reaching to common people?
Okay, you see, Sridhar, we are a B2B company, and when we do this, we may not be directly reaching to the common people, but what I do is we are very closely connected to the academia, to the industry, and we make sure that we keep on driving this message across to the people like you, and then you will take it further. So environmental sustainability, as I said, cannot be won by one person. So as far as common people is concerned, all the institutes, academia like this, and many other sources, we keep on reaching out through various channels to ensure that we are able to communicate and spread this whole strategy across the country. And as I said, I don't do it alone. There'll be many doing. It is like a web. It will keep on spreading itself. But definitely, this is the way to go for future. So I'm thinking that Sridhar, you can be the next chain for me to spread it further to whoever you get a chance.
So Mahindra Kumar asks, environmental sustainability, how are you measuring the progress?
Okay, so there are a lot of ways to measure the progress, because as I said, the carbon dioxide emissions are the key to measuring that. And there is a lot of every site today, the number of cars, let's say number of diesel cars that go to the market. So then how much carbon dioxide they will emit. Then the plants have a mandatory emission monitoring systems required. And all this put together, there are a lot of tools available today where we ensure that, the overall carbon dioxide, is monitored. And then we also monitor the greening of the country. If I talk about India, how much more forestation and greening we are doing. And in this combination, obviously there are complex mechanisms, but if you could give you a very high level answer, this is how we do it. Basically, measure the emissions and also measure what you are greening, and net you are able to then see that how much you are contributing as a country to the environmental sustainability.
So we have a question from Fatima Namshina. She asks, what type of a leadership style do you follow?
So it's a good question. I follow, if I have to put a single word, open door, always approachable leadership style. I think that has worked for me very well. And if you do that, the people who are with you always will be ready to kind of work for you and give their best. So my style is, first, very important is I always ensure that I am approachable, available, and at the same time also leading from the front. So, whatever I preach, I try to practice is my leadership style.
So we have a question from Rajesh Murugesan. What is holding incumbents back from pursuing a digital business transformation?
Oh, very, very good question. I think you're trying to ask that what are the bottlenecks or roadblocks, right? You see, I think this is a very interesting question. Everybody wants to do it, but I think the vision and the business objective associated to it are not coming. But of course, this is changing at a very, very fast pace. That is why if you have, kind of experts with you when you are trying to make your digital strategy, you will be able to put it right. So what happens is sometimes I can tell you some very large corporate, they put a very big investment and then it didn't work because it was not thought about carefully. So then when you see the leader did not work, others try to follow. But as I am going into the industry, I'm finding that today even the small, medium scale industry are willing to talk about this. And if they get the right kind of, right consultancy, right views, the people are willing to, implement. That is why I always say in digital transformation, start small, think big and go fast. That is very, very important. You should not start very, very big and then kind of fall. But then think always big and keep on moving fast. Otherwise, you will become irrelevant.
Sudhir Swarup has a question. He says, how can a person with a data experience in the development sector find a career in this sector?
Data experience in a development sector, find a career in the same sector. So again, today I think data experience is it's a gold experience today. I'm sure you all are reading India, the way data scientists and data mining teams are in demand. So this is a very good career, and I think in future, this will be what will be driving. So if you have a lot of experience on data right now in a development and you want to move into data science, I think sky is the limit today. I'm not sure fully understood the question, but I feel that, you talk to us, we have so many data science working for us and they can make careers and finally grow to become leaders in the organization.
Shankar Ram Ananthanarayanan says, we are a startup company working on IIoT. Do you collaborate or partner with startups for delivering sustainable solutions?
Yes, definitely we do. We even recently attended a big startup kind of session organized by the US-India Strategic Forum, and many startups presented the solutions to us. So obviously, if you have something very interesting, we will definitely love to hear. And if there is an opportunity, we will love to work. But yes, we do work with startups. But again, because we are overall a global company, we have to make sure that everything is aligned to our norms. So, but definitely we work with with startups wherever we can.
Kalpana M, how much of new technologies like AI and ML have contributed to the energy transformation?
Oh, big. I think, AI and ML is a big way contributing to digital, to energy transformation. Because today, if you go to any plant and as we move forward, so we are like, I would say started the journey, but there are so many solutions available where you are able to, for example, whether you are able to predict failure using AI, or you are able to predict the consumption so that you manage your energy with all very much being used today. And if you want to go into detail, we can share with you. You can connect with my digital team, and they will share with you a lot of examples which are actually live implemented in energy transformation using AI and ML. For example, if you are having a steam consuming kind of plant, and then you use digital steam traps, and then we have AI ML data to then tell you how you can kind of save the steam within. So a lot of stuff. I think sky is the limit. I will be more than happy to connect you to my digital team, and they can share more with you.
So Sailu P has a question. He is from a manufacturing background and wants to grow in a career. He needs suggestions of how his advanced strategic project management program will help him grow further from a manufacturing background. Yes.
Okay, so very good question. So I didn't get the name of the gentleman. You said
Sailu.
Okay, so okay, Sailu. So I am a project manager. By career, I was a project manager, and like you, I used to ask this question. I feel project managers today are the best suited for growing and running businesses, because that is where we learn the complete kind of ecosystem, from handling clients to handling the internal stuff to project, the P&L. So you are on the right track if you have strategic management in manufacturing sector. keep your aspirations known to wherever you are working. And I think growing is for a project manager with manufacturing background. Definitely, there's a huge opportunity to grow forward and run businesses as you move forward.
Nikita Luth asks, do you think the powerful lobbies, that is oil lobby, could derail or delay the green movement?
Oh, very tough question. I don't think so. There's a choice. So I personally, don't think it is possible, because there are agreements, and we all know our relevance will be in question if we don't do the green sustainability movement. So, as far as I feel, no. Answer is no. They will not be able to derail. Obviously, oil lobby, does get worried with all the green movement, EV and all. But I am sure, that if you were asked this question 20 years back, will ATM, affect a bank employee, and you would have said, oh yes. But now nobody's bothered. So I think the whole ecosystem will find its way. So answer is no. I don't think so personally. But again, this is a very broad question. So it is only my personal view.
So I think you have really answered all our questions. There are no more questions in the Q&A. So I can't thank you. I would like to thank you on behalf of Emeritus and Eruditus Executive Education for such a valuable session this evening. And I'm very grateful you took this time out from your busy schedule to address our learners. And as you rightly said, wishing you all a very safe weekend. I can really thank Ms. Bhatia. You shared your journey with so much sincerity, and I hope we've all had a brush on the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Roma. It was a true pleasure to meet your team, and been very, very interesting and very, very intelligent questions. So I'm sure you have a great team there, and looking forward to working with you more. Thank you again, Roma, and thanks to all those who took the time to join on a Friday evening. And wishing you all very safe times and all the best.
Thank you so much.